The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN Monday morning, just after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We got about 24 minutes to go until the start of trading. And where are markets, folks? Continuing the acceleration from last week. We're higher by 7 points on the S&P. We're higher across the board. NASDAQ 100 up by 47. The Dow positive by 13. Russell positive by 2. Going to take a couple of these Fibonacci numbers off this chart for a little bit of clarity. Pretty much flat. You come into about 7 a.m. this morning, and then, boy, it's quite an acceleration, man. You're talking about 20 S&P points from 7:15 a.m. to the high we got just at about 8:30. We'll see where we go on the opening bell. You back things up just 10 days. You see the run from Thursday, man, right? Basically, you're talking about a run, folks, of 125 points in the S&Ps. Absolutely remarkable. And we got a huge week, man. We have Chairman Powell speaking tomorrow to Congress. We have non-farm payrolls on Friday. Excuse me. We get more data than that. But those two events alone, right? The chairman speaking tomorrow. What's he going to talk about? He's probably going to talk about the data, deciding where they go. And what's he going to have to say about the recent rally in the last couple of days? I mean, why is the market up 3% from the lows of Thursday? I couldn't tell you, folks. There's a lot of risk in this market right now, but nonetheless, we're charging higher, and you have a little bit of a pullback in terms of rates pulling back. When we were talking about it last week, I'm going to pull it up right now, but last week we were above 4%. Right now, you're sitting at a yield of 3.91 on the 10-year yield. Let's jump right to the dollar index. We're getting a little bit of a weaker dollar today. Okay, so you just traded from 105.20 to 104.40, but it is interesting in terms of we are right back to where we were on Tuesday's action in the dollar index. Okay, and I'm jumping around a bit to begin the program, but we are right back to where we were in Tuesday's action in the 10-year. And meanwhile, we have the S&P up about 1% or 2 from where it was over then. So yes, you dipped. But boy, it's been quite an acceleration, and we haven't had that big of a pullback in terms of yields and rates and where we are. But nonetheless, S&P's pushing about 4,060. We put this thing on a daily basis. Excuse me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Fibonacci from the move we just had. You can see at about a 50%. If you're using the tails of each move, talking about the highs of just under 4,200 to that low we had of 39.25, you're coming right into the 50%. If you're looking for the 618, about 4,085. He's talking about 27 points above where we're at right now. That may be the next test. Crude, negative by about 80 pennies, we'll call it, 85 pennies to the downside. And crude seems like $80 to $82, man. That's been a ceiling for crude. You're going all the way back to December 1st. I know there's a lot of talk out there about that potentially changing, $100 being in the mix again. Very possible, but if you're just looking at the technicals, man, you're coming into an area that we tested February 13th. And, you know, it's nice when you get your back against the wall, man. You want to get into that for a bearish trade. You know, $82, maybe you cap your losses to the upside. You got to run to the downside, you're probably looking at $73 or as low as potentially $70 if you push those lower boundary lines that crude's been in for about the last 3 months. Bitcoin, not bad. There's your daily, okay? A little bit in terms of a red bar because we opened so much higher. All we're doing is we're back to where we were on February 15th. It seems like every time there's some type of collapse that you didn't think would happen in crypto, the market just stays strong, man. Ethereum 1572 this morning, the gold contract. We got a little bit of a weaker dollar. You're getting a little bit of strength in gold. Gold up about $3 to 1857 right now. And we jump to notes and bonds. And that's what I was talking about, right? We got higher price, we got lower yield. You got the 10-year 3.9%, 3.91 actually. If you round up, 3.92, 3.915. So round up to be exact, 3.92 if you're talking about 2 decimal points. And check out the critical area we're at in the 10-year in terms of the technicals here. We put that thing going all the way back to really where this trend began, almost December of 2021. And you're just oscillating right on that line. Is this going to drive back below that line, indicating higher rates? Hey, folks, our man Bud Rolfs, I'm talking about him a lot lately. He's on my mind. Love him, miss him, of course. But there are some great channels all over this market right now, man. And if you don't know Bud, folks, he did an outstanding show at TFNN for probably a decade, more than a decade, outstanding newsletters. And he was the channel master, we call him, because he taught us all so much about these channels. And one of the things he used to say, which was so important, was that, you don't buy the breakout, okay? Or vice versa on the downside. You wait for the retest. Boy, folks, you put this thing on a weekly, right? And listen, I think that inflation's raging right now, okay? But boy, this could be a test, man. This could be a breakout of the downtrend channel. It could be a test of that channel line. We're getting positive action today. And what would that mean? That would mean that price is going to go higher, yield is going to go lower, and that would coincide with inflation coming under control. And we're coming into some pretty lofty comps in terms of inflation in the first half of 2000. Let me get this right. Yes, in the first half of 2022. Is that right? Yeah, it was raging. Once we got to the later part of the year, okay, we were just at higher prices, but we didn't see as big of an acceleration towards the second part of the year because prices were already so high because of the huge ramp up in acceleration in the first 6 months of 2022. So we're coming into those higher prices that are going to be comped against. And that should bring things down a bit. But hey, we'll see where we find out, man. We get important data on Friday, and it's going to be interesting to see what the chairman has to say on Tuesday ahead of those numbers. It's pretty remarkable that no matter what he says, I think the market just loves to hear. We'll hear what the data has to say, and the market is looking for some good data. And you know what? It feels like I've been saying for a year, the next 3 to 6 months are going to be very interesting, and the market just shakes it off, man. Never would you have considered in the middle of last year that you would have been saying, you know what, if we're coming into March or April of 2023, and potentially we might have things beginning, it's just way after when the market anticipated we might tame inflation or get the turnaround we've gotten. Haven't gotten it yet, but the 30 are at a critical area. And, when you put it on a weekly, okay, that's what the chart looks like on a weekly basis. Where you put that top trend line, okay, matches up pretty clearly with those two tops. Also, the top we got in December before you broke out of that area. You put it on a daily, though, okay? Now, where you line this up, right, lines up pretty well. Right from the body of the candle on March 7th. Let's back this up even further, okay? So pretty concise in terms of the tops you had in March of 2022. We hit that area again in August of 2022. And look, we can draw one on the downside too, okay? Because it's pretty clear, right? Pretty parallel line to the downside of a channel line. Let's just even go back, see if we do. No, because that's the high, right? Yeah. So that's what it looks like on a weekly, but the daily, if you're really zooming in, you're right at that area. I mean, how cool, man? We're talking about a channel line, folks, that's going back. Back it up again. Over a year. And you are literally at the exact price point of that channel line. You got back within it. So there's the other case, right? On a daily basis, we've gotten back in the channel. Now we could be testing it to trade lower, which would be higher yield, which would be inflation raging. We're going to find out a lot this week, man. Non-farm payrolls, right? Jobless claims. Last time we got non-farm payrolls, folks, we had 500,000 plus jobs added. We find out on Friday. Stay tuned. We got a lot to talk about. We'll be right back. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched The Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&Ps up by 7 points right now, trading at 4,057. You see a little bit of volatility already, man. Now, it doesn't look like a lot because we're looking at a chart that goes back 2 days, and meanwhile, the market is up by 139 points was the high. You're talking about almost 3.5%, man, from where it was Thursday. So, yeah, it doesn't look like a lot. But you put it on a minute basis, and you're trading up 20 points, and just like that, you give up 7. That's all pre-market. We'll see where the action really goes in about 11 minutes from right now, folks. And where we're going to kick things off, we talk about Morgan Stanley's Wilson. I feel like I'm talking about him a lot, man, but he's been dead on. And I like at least trying to think about the way he thinks about the market as one possible scenario, and then I'm evaluating everything else I read, right? And you have to make those decisions as a trader if you're looking especially macro, longer term, etc. He's been talking doom or gloom. I think his projection's about 3,900 on the S&P. And the reason why I like it is just because big picture, what he's talking about in terms of inflation, the economy, the risks, I tend to agree with them. So I've been following him more so, which is what would be natural, right? Technicals are supportive of a move higher for the S&P 500. So he talks about that it held the 200-day in here, is what he's talking about in a big way. S&P 500's resilience at the 200-day moving average last week, a widely monitored technical indicator of an index's momentum against its current price. I wonder if ChatGPT wrote that definition. The bounce off the line suggests it may now act as a support for the benchmark. Index is likely to move higher if Treasury yields in the dollar continue to decline. I just spent a decent portion of the program talking about the 10-year because that's another point I agree. You got to watch the 10-year. You got to watch yields. You got to watch the dollar driving so much of the action going on right now. Equity markets, this is his quote, survived a crucial test of support last week that suggests this bear market rally is not ready to end just yet. Listen, I've been talking about risks in this market. He has as well. My ears perked up when he said, hey, guess what, man? There's risks everywhere in this market still, but technically we're pushing higher. It's tough to deny that, man. That was strong momentum the last couple of days to close out that market. I think markets were up about 2.5% last week, 1.5 to 2.5, probably depending on the market that you're looking at. Yeah, they snapped a 3-week losing streak. There's the 200-day moving average for you, okay? You see the red dotted line. Now, guess what? You talk about channel lines, right? Isn't it amazing? So they have the channel line that we're looking at on the 10-year almost, right? And there's one right on the S&Ps. It lines up with the 200-day, and it just tested off that area. And you're almost testing off the area of support in the S&P 500, which is a critical area as well. It's a decent bullish technical indicator, man, in terms of the action you got, the price action you got right at that price point. And today we're starting a little bit higher, but boy, we got a lot of economic data, man. There was an article out over the weekend on Bloomberg, okay, and I was trying to find it on Bloomberg. I can probably find it, but somehow I found it on Yahoo, where they're just kind of screenscaping and, of course, republishing the Bloomberg article. And it's talking about 13 days, man. 13 days is all it's going to take to get a plethora of data points. 4 of them, okay, is what it's going to come down to. Yeah, 4 major events. First words in the article. I know. We start with Jerome Powell tomorrow. Non-farm payrolls on Friday. Then we get CPI on March 14th. What is that, a week from tomorrow? Yes, a week from tomorrow. We get CPI, and then the following day, and then the following week after that, the main event, you could say, is March 22nd. Fed meets March 21st and 22nd. Press conference on the 22nd to follow. And there you go, man. 13 days. Really, what is it now? Yeah, what are they talking about 13 days, though? Either way. This week, staying on it, folks. How's 13, right? That gets us to what? And then March 5th, that gets us to the 18th. I don't know. Isn't that the headline of the article? The next 13 trading sessions. Devil's in the details, folks. 13 trading sessions. Here we go. We got 5 this week, 5 next week, and 3 the following week. So you're talking about 16 days is what we get total. And yeah, they're important data points. And this week, well, they all are. So we have Jerome Powell tomorrow, non-farm payrolls Friday, CPI a week from tomorrow, and then the Fed the following week after that. And then the crazy thing is we have 1 week in between, and then boom, you're into April, and we're getting all the March data. If it lines up, it'd be a beautiful thing. But if it doesn't, I think the market might be a little freaked out. Now, Wilson noted the gap between reported earnings and cash flow is the widest in 25 years, driven by excess inventory and capitalized costs that have yet to be reflected, despite hawkish comments from the Fed. Yeah. So anyway, for what it's worth, he's been a big bear out there, but even he's talking about, hey, the technicals, man, be careful, because this thing's got momentum to the upside. It just bounced off the 200-day. He's got a projection of 3,900 by the end of the year, but he sees the next resistance for the index at about 4,150, and that's where this thing rolled over prior. So not outlandish, man. Maybe you get one more little run, right? In terms of 4,150 on this chart, let's take off this Fibonacci. And yeah, you're talking about a pretty decent area where we topped out for the better part. I mean, that's a nice consolidation area, basically, right? From February 1st all the way to February 16th, that was an area that basically added as resistance. And you're talking about 90 points above where we're at right now. So yeah, you get up there, the risk reward is even better to the downside in this market. Okay, what else are we talking about? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about him again. Why not? President Xi. I mean, what's so amazing about this, right, is that you have the, what is it, the Renaissance, who's the gentleman that they unfortunately have right now? Yeah, Bao Fan. I just, if you have any type of power like that, I'd be getting out of that country as fast as I could, man. You just wake up one day, you're gone. Missing banker reignites fear of Xi among China's tech bosses. Yeah, I mean, if he could do it to Jack Ma, man, he could do it to anybody in that country. Let's talk a little bit of Tesla, for sure. So Tesla, jump over to Tesla shares. Up about $1 with the market right now. Quite a run it's had to start the year. Elon, the richest man in the world, yet again. And Tesla slashes Model S and X prices for the second time this year. Cost of higher-end models have dropped as much as $29,000. Now, here's the kicker of all of this, man. Anybody who bought a car last year, you got taken, man, because you paid 30 grand more than you probably had to for some of these. The Model S and X now start at $89,990 and $99,990 in the U.S. That's 5.3 and 9.1% cuts. The company lowered prices of the higher performance, is it plaid versions? How do you pronounce that? Yeah, so the plaid ones are plaid. I better get that one. 26 and 29,000 less than they did in early January. 2 months, 3 months. Anybody that bought it towards the end of last year, man. Look at the different prices in terms of the latest cut, the change before. Yeah, you paid $138,900 for the car in January 1st, and today you could have gotten it at $109,000. The Model X, you saved about $20,000. The Model S plaid, $26,000, and the Model S even $15,000. So the race is on, man. Musk said last week that the desire to own Teslas was indistinguishable from infinite, and that demand will go crazy as the company makes its cars more affordable. Well, can't deny that if you decrease price, where demand equals supply is going to be higher on the curve, folks. That's Econ 101. We found even small changes in the price have a big effect on demand, very big. Well, they're not small changes, man. Anybody's going to pay attention when you talk about 30 grand over a period of about 3 months. Stay tuned, folks. Market's up by 10. We're coming back for the open.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We are trading. The market is open for 25 seconds. We have markets in positive territory. Russell rolls over to barely in the red right now by 1 point. S&P's up by 8. NASDAQ up by 58. In the grand scheme, 7 points. We open to the upside, man. You can't deny it. Futures last night, it was interesting. I was talking to my dad. It was like 6:03. We're both pulling up the futures. Flat, completely flat. Nothing going on. Market very okay with the acceleration that it had on Friday. No fear that things got a little bit out of whack at all to give that back. Thought it was interesting that it was literally flat, 0, half a point, etc. Folks, if you haven't checked out the Tiger's Den, all right, they're having some great conversations over there this morning. I'm just enjoying the takes from everybody in the Tiger's Den. There's such great information out there, folks. Please come over to our website, check out the Tiger's Den. It's $1 for the year. If you haven't done it, folks, you can listen to any host at TFNN. I'd encourage you to do it. It's so cool. Discord now. Discord did have a few problems this morning. If you're struggling getting in, a restart helped me. But the coolest part is you can put it on your phone. So there's action overnight. There's action pre-market, post-market, and there's just some great takes in there. I learned a lot myself. It's great talking to the traders. Just seeing everyone's insight. Just like I talk about Morgan Stanley's Wilson, everybody is just giving you their opinion, folks, okay? And so what I look at it is, my job for myself is you look at those opinions and then you make your own opinion, right? And the more educated opinions that you can learn about, perceive, understand, right? To understand the thinking that goes behind with maybe an opinion that you disagree with, I think it's important to see all of those sides. It's such great traders, and I appreciate everybody in the den this morning. I'd start naming names, but I'm going to miss people. So it's just there's too many in there that are adding so much value. So check out the Tiger's Den, and guess what? Where's Larry's live trading event taking place, folks? Right in our Discord server. So if you're already in the Tiger's Den, it's going to be as simple as clicking a button, and you're in the room for Larry for his live trading webinar, 9 a.m. till 2 p.m., folks. Less than 48 hours. Pretty cool that you're going to have Chairman Powell speaking Tuesday. Larry's going to be in there live trading Wednesday. We got non-farm payrolls coming down the line on Friday. CPI next Tuesday. Market's volatile, man. Hopefully we get a good day Wednesday. But please check it out. Larry does about a couple of these a year. It's $295. You get his newsletter. It's a great time to sign up for the newsletter, folks. Larry puts out a tremendous amount of videos, a full report with his charts for the week, talking about futures. And that all comes out on Sunday. So you sign up right now, you gain access to the newsletter. You can look at all the updates Larry's put out over the weekend to get you ready for the event on Wednesday, and it will be archived if you can't attend live, folks. Check it out. I know Larry's excited, man. He was texting me on Sunday as well. Excited. And folks, if you weren't listening last week, one of the days last week, I think it might have been Thursday, Larry did 3 hours. 3 hours, man. He is just a beast. So he's excited, and that was of radio. So he's going to be in there live trading for 5 hours, and he goes over so much of his methodology at the same time, folks, okay? So he goes over the methodology. He's live trading, real money, real trades, 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. Check it out. And we get the market trading higher right now with the S&P up by 13. NASDAQ 100 catches a bid, man. Let's go to a 5-minute chart. Yeah, there's a pop for you on the open. Whoops. Almost hit about 12,400. You're up by 0.6%. The Dow up by about 0.2%, and the S&P's up by 0.3%. Jumping back to that Morgan Stanley Wilson article, the last part I didn't get to is that he's just looking at the technical short term, okay? Because he still emphasizes he doesn't expect the rally to last long. He said markets have further to fall in the medium term. Fundamentals continue to deteriorate, especially on the earnings front. Despite the rally, quote unquote, we believe it does not refute the very poor risk reward currently offered by many stocks given valuations and earnings forecasts that remain way too high in our view. There's some great takes lining up similar action in terms of the den, and they make a lot of sense, man. This chart alone, okay? I've seen this one before, but it's pretty stark, okay? Falling earnings growth may weigh on the U.S. equities, and what you have here is you have the S&P 500 in the black, okay? And you have blended forward earnings per share in the red. Well, they rose in tandem, and we've seen a decline in the blended forward earnings since the beginning of last year almost, and these are forward earnings, so these are the ones coming down the line, right? And meanwhile, the market's pretty much just consolidated as this line's traded lower. Now, you can make the case that it lagged to the upside, which is why maybe, but boy, that's important data, man, because all that matters is earnings. And right now, the report, The gap between reported earnings and cash flow is the widest in 25 years. So quite a number. All right, what else do we have? This one's just interesting for the humanity front, man. White rhinos. There's only 16,000 of them in the world. One guy's got a ranch with 2,000 of them on it, and he's selling. And if you want to buy it, you can start bidding for it for $10 million. 13% of the world's white rhinos. Amazing. Look at those beautiful creatures, man. Look at that. Look at those rhinos. Tell you, we're very lucky to live in Florida, folks. We talk about it all the time, let alone the weather. But we have so many cool attractions that we get to use while they're really built for tourists, right? Those attractions couldn't be supported by Florida residents because they're so gigantic. Now, we all know Disney, okay? But it goes way beyond Disney, man, because even in Tampa, tell you, we got Busch Gardens, which is amazing. One of the best deals around, folks, even with a family, not even, especially with a family, is, I talk about this all the time, but boy, we're handing out information, and this one's a good one. I think a yearly pass at Busch Gardens is $240, something like that. And that's like the gold plan that gets you a pretty decent plan. You have free tickets to go with it. So you get in there as many times as you want for the year for $240. It comes with parking. You get discounts on drinks if you buy them in the park. And if you buy a plastic cup, you get dollar refills all year, okay? So the one kicker here is if you really want to go there and ride roller coasters, boy, the line without a quick pass is like 90 minutes, 60 minutes, especially if you're talking about any time on the weekend. You show up there at some obscure time during the day or something like that, yeah, you're going to have slower action. So to ride a ride, you almost have to buy, if you want to ride a bunch of rides, you don't have to, okay, but I would advise you buy a pass. But folks, with kids, number one, preschool gets in free, okay, under 2 gets in free. Having a small son, we just go there all the time to walk around and look at the animals, and I have to pay nothing for it. We probably went there 40 times over the last year, and I'm not joking here, okay? During Christmas, they just do some beautiful decorations. They got the snowman there. They got Santa there. They got everything lit up. They got a train that goes around the whole thing. You can look at the animals, and I get in there for the whole year for $240, and we literally show up, folks. I bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for Tommy. I bring our cup that we can refill. I bring his. We walk in, and I spend like $1 for the whole day, not even trying. It's just there's no reason to. We're enjoying ourselves. We're seeing the beautiful animals, and I think about it because they get some beautiful rhinos at Busch Gardens as well, let alone the cool roller coasters. But I've been there 40 times in the last year, folks. How many times have I been on a roller coaster? 0. But that's all right. You got kids. We go around. We have a beautiful time. It's a great deal. Okay. Back to the market. What do we got talking about? Let's see. What else do I have pulled up here? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interest rate, right? So we talk about Mr. Powell tomorrow. Powell set to lay the groundwork for higher rates on Capitol Hill. The Fed chief is likely to warn lawmakers of inflation risks. Semi-annual policy testimony is what he's doing. He'll be at Capitol Hill. We'll see what he has to say, man. Yeah, they go over Bostic's comments in here, I know. We're just going to find out what he says tomorrow, man. Is he going to be hawkish? Is he going to be dovish? The market's not worried, man. Coming into Fed testimony, coming into non-farm payrolls, holding on to last week's gains right now with the S&P up by 11 points. Stay tuned, folks. We'll take a look at some of the equities that we're looking at this week.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We have markets holding up basically where we kick things off. You're right at session highs as I speak, actually. Up now 16 points in the S&Ps at 4,065. Jumping over to Netflix. Talked about this last week. Did you check it out, folks? Chris Rock, Saturday night, live. One of their first, not one of, the first live comedy event. It was pretty good. So it started at 10 o'clock. I made it till almost 11. I didn't get to see the end yet, which is when he brought up Will Smith. I think that's how he closed out the action. It was pretty good. I was listening to it. I tuned in at about 9:30, actually, because I went to Netflix at about 9:30 p.m. Saturday night. It's like, I wonder how this is going to happen, right? You go to the live screen. Is it going to give you a waiting screen? Is it going to give you a countdown or something? No, they had a whole pregame show basically going on at a different location in L.A., and then they cut right at 10 o'clock to the live action going on in Baltimore, which is where Chris Rock was. So you had an event that you could watch prior to lead you into that as people got on the stream, right? So it's interesting how they were doing this just as a company that streams itself. So are they going to start it right then? Does everybody have to hit the button right at 10 o'clock? No, they had a whole pregame show going on. Arsenio Hall was on there, a couple other comedians, a host from The Daily Show. I forget that gentleman's name as well. But it was good. And the market probably thinks it was good, too, because check it out. Netflix catches a little bit of a bid this morning. You're up by 2%. That's up about $6 at $3.20. Positive with the market, but a little bit more than usual. Disney shares trading basically flat, so that's a Netflix deal. Now, I'm going to jump to Warner Brothers Discovery for a moment. Now, this thing's been in the doldrums, okay? This acceleration back here, that was the Bill Hwang saga. Don't forget, that's when he was basically buying every share twice, 3 times, 4 times for himself and inflating all the prices until he went bust. Nonetheless, you're up off of the low of 882. And what is interesting, listen, you relate to what you know in life, okay? And I've talked about the shows Coco Melon. I've talked about the shows, Coco Melon especially, right? Bought by a company called Moonbug, I think, and I always confuse. There's One Capital, whatever. It's a private equity-backed company run by the former head of direct-to-consumer content for Disney, the guy who got passed over for the CEO role. Nonetheless, one of the things that they also own is the show Blippi, B-L-I-P-P-I. I'll pull up his picture at some point. It's a YouTube show that now they license as well. They bought that program. My son loves it, folks. It's kind of like a cross between like a modern-day Pee Wee Herman. I guess that would be almost the best version, maybe something like that. Let's see if we can pull up a picture. Do you guys know Blippi? There's a good picture. Hold on, let me get him over here. So, credit to this guy, man. I was reading him. He's an actor, started this in 2014, and he had some crazy stuff prior to starting this, as in just trying to do comedy with whatever. I'm not even going to get into it. But he started it, he ran it, sold the company. I mean, this thing's doing like 400 million views a month, I think, and that was probably the last time I was reading it. But to get back to Warner Brothers Discovery, so what's cool is we have HBO in the house, and HBO has made the choice to license some of that content. So what does HBO have? They have Sesame Street, which is amazing, man. Tommy loves Elmo so much, part of Busch Gardens. They have amazing shows at Busch Gardens with the Sesame Street characters. They have a Sesame Street Village or something like that. They have all these kids' rides, and then they do live shows with the characters like 3 days a week. So Elmo's over there doing some shows. And so you can get all of that on your HBO. Now you can get the stuff on YouTube too, okay? That's the other. But you can also get Blippi on there. And so we started watching that on there. And you can also get, there's another YouTube show, and I forget it. It's two young children, two young boys. I think they're a Russian family, Russian child, something. It's a huge kid show, two children that they follow. But it's an interesting strategy because you don't need much, man. You don't need to be Disney. And listen, Tommy loves Mickey Mouse, nothing like Mickey Mouse as well, all right? He watches Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. But it's interesting that, man, you grab Sesame Street, you grab a couple YouTube shows, and you're competing with Disney, and you're almost winning. Right now, Tommy wants to watch Blippi. So I'm watching this happen in real time. He's just over 2 years old, and it's always interesting how he's morphing from one to the next to the next. And check this out, okay? This company, Moonbug, I'm going to pull it up to get the numbers, the names correct and everything, because he has now transitioned from Coco Melon being a huge fan originally, and these are great shows. I'm cool with these shows. We cut the screen time to a minimum, but when screen time exists, I've talked about there's good screen time and bad screen time. These shows are pretty good screen time. Coco Melon, teaching him his rhymes, his nursery rhymes. That's what I was looking for. Teaching him his songs, his ABCs, his numbers, right? They go through all this stuff. Then he kind of transitioned to the show Little Angels. Moonbug owns that one too. A little bit edgier to the tiniest degree. These are all animated cartoons, and now he's on Blippi. They own all three of them, but what's cool is Coco Melon and Little Angels are on Netflix, right? And so he found them on Netflix in the kids section, and then he found Blippi through YouTube, and they're all owned by the same company. I mean, they're doing great things at that company, man. If I could invest in it in stock, I just would, because seeing my child alone. So, again, watching this, right, it's interesting to see how they're going to be able to compete, folks. It's very bullish Disney, but watching it happen in my house, you don't need the whole lineup of shows. Yes, it's always going to be present. I can't imagine canceling Disney right now, okay, especially with a child so young. But he's watching Warner Brothers Discovery a lot, and what you also get in here, I have my son watching this all day, not all day, but that's the program he prefers most right now, Blippi. And then I have my friends my age in their 40s all talking about that they're watching The Last of Us, which is their big show right now, which I haven't checked out, but that's like my next one I want to check out. And that show is so popular right now that they can't even stream it when it's kicking off on HBO, that the show has reached the level of success that the app has even begun to slow. I'm not sure that's certain, because one of my friends who was watching it said he kicked things off about 5 minutes after it was released last night, and he had no problem, but one of my friends was having problems right when it kicks off, and that is what happens sometimes. I believe some of the other shows, Game of Thrones, it was reported to some degree. But nonetheless, HBO, there's no other HBO, man. I've talked about this with my dad. It's amazing that I think back when cable was just beginning. I must have been like 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. 11, not 12, no, like 8 years old, something like that, because I'm trying to place it where I was, what house, what grade I was in. And I remember those HBO, do you remember that old school HBO where the HBO would be rotating in space, right? Do you remember that? I remember that, man. That was like 30, 35 years ago. Geez, 35, more like 35, which is amazing that I was 8 years old. 35 years ago, and they're still at the top, which is remarkable. And so to see my son watching it, to see my friends watching it, you're 100% up at where you were. But boy, this thing, I think it has some value. I'm going to be taking a look at it harder in the coming future, because, yeah, they're going to be able to compete. You don't have to get a lot of shows, and when you can just get them off YouTube like that, it's pretty remarkable how that can play out. All right, market giving things up a bit. Let's check out notes and bonds. Ooh, what are we getting here? Look at that. Still dropping. Yeah, so you just dropped from, that's 10 ticks, man, from 8 in the morning. We're at a critical area right now in this 10-year. You break below here, you could be back to 110.22, which is just where we were on Friday. Let's check out the dollar index as we come into this break. Dollar pulling back a bit, 104.40. All right, folks, one more segment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Got a chart of Apple up here. Apple gets Goldman Sachs initiates coverage with something like a double buy, man. They're looking at like $199 potentially from this year, from this stock, as services could really start to accelerate. Boy, you talk about a move, man. I talk about it all the time. Apple's got 16 billion shares outstanding. That's 16 billion shares outstanding. Every $10 is $160 billion in market cap, and this thing's up $11. You're talking about $176 billion in market cap added since Thursday morning. Whew. Some numbers, man. S&P's up by 13. Russell rolling over a little bit with the small caps negative by 7. Crude negative by about 50 cents right now. We catch a little bit of a bid in the last hour or so. Gold contract up by $3. We have some weakness in the dollar. And you got the 10-year right now backing off a bit, but still up by 5 ticks at 111.08. And yeah, let's talk a little bit of cash. I'm seeing cash articles everywhere, it feels like, in this market. Oh, come on, where are we? Oh, I think I may have, did I close it? Well, this was one of them. Holding cash will be a winning strategy in 2023. You can't deny that one, man. This was the next one I was looking at. I had one more in there as well, though. Oh, maybe from the Journal. That's it, isn't it? There it is. This was the one. Wall Street concedes there's finally an alternative to stocks. I mean, check out all these articles, right? This one is yesterday at 7 in the morning. Where were we just now? Well, that's talking about inflation. Yep, that's Powell. Nope, this is talking about cash. That's yesterday at 8 o'clock at night. And then, what was the last one we just had? Yeah, banks. This one's this morning, finally being forced to raise rates on deposits. Deposits declined last year for the first time since 1948. Net withdrawals, $278 billion. Yeah, if you got cash laying around, man, get out and get some yield because it's there. 4 to 5% right now. And if you got cash anywhere, I would just make sure it's earning you some capital because that money's out there right now. And it's going to be a headwind for stocks when you can pull 4 to 5% guaranteed for a long time right now, especially if you see volatility in this market. Stay tuned, folks. Don't forget about Larry's webinar on Wednesday. So you really got to sign up by today or tomorrow because it's kicking off Wednesday at 9 in the morning. Basil Chapman's up next, folks. Steve Rhodes at 11. Fast Market at 12. Larry, Dave, my dad this afternoon. Have a great Monday, everybody.